We are Bill, and this is Liam Blackburn. Hi. And we are at the USS Silversides Museum in Muskegon, Michigan. I'll pop this on in the background there. So she is a World War II diesel boat. I was a fast attack submariner on Los Angeles class subs. And so I love World War II history. I love checking it out. And this is a really cool, semi-local to us location to go to. We live about 2 hours south of here. So come on with us as we explore the museum, both outside and inside. We're going to go through the top side of the Silversides, and then I will record separate content that will be once we go inside of the boat. So if you have any questions about submarining, about submarines in general, I will certainly do my part. And let's go on a walkabout.
So I saw some stuff out that way if we want to just look through here.
So an idea, this model will show you roughly
this is the whole USS Filler.
But it's the same class of boat. So we'll give you an idea. And really what you're going to see is how much of the submarine is underwater, below the waterline, as opposed to above the waterline.
They had a couple of shotguns, spears, and blowers.
So this will give you an idea of what's on top of the deck, who is where.
Welcome to the island of Hudson.
So.
This was a boat with all of the Italian. The river fighters loyal.
Okay, we will go in through this part because this part does do a very good walkthrough of really the opening phase of the war, the attack on Pearl Harbor, as well as the role that submarines will play. I was based at Pearl Harbor from 1995 to 1999. I served on the USS New York City. Originally, I was on the DCOM crew for her, and then I moved over to the USS Buffalo. So SSN 696 and 715. So Lockwood was very famous to us. Lockwood Hall was one of the main barracks that we had at Pearl. I never stayed at Lockwood Hall to visit there a couple times, but he was ComSubPac commander in the U.S. Pacific Fleet. All right, so here's great information here. The difference between the fleet boats, these DBF, diesel boats forever, versus that's now showing a Virginia class. I was on the Los Angeles class, so my statistics were a little bit different. But let's look at the fleet boats. 312 feet long, 27 foot wide, 17 feet of draft. 2,400 tons submerged, diesel, electric, 21 knots on the surface, 9 knots submerged, with a range of 11,000 miles. They could go to a depth of 300 feet.
Now, is that crush depth or test depth?
That's not telling us. So I don't know that. We might have to Google that. I don't know. They don't give us the specifics. But you're only talking 6 O-gangers, 6 officers, 54 enlisted, with 10 tubes, 24 steam torpedoes, only 24 fish total, and between 1 and 3 depth gauge, with a limitation of about 48 hours underwater. And that is just steerage, okay?
And the last was retired in 1983.
That is wild to think that those type of boats were going all the way into the 80s through the Cold War.
Oh.
So Virginia is just a little bit longer than a 688. We're 360 feet because I was on first flight. This is 32 foot. A 688 was 33 foot, 7,700 tons compared to 2,400 tons. Nuclear power, obviously. Hello, folks. I'm glad to start seeing some people in. We're really glad to have you guys here. So, it has 14 O-gangers, officers, 120 enlisted. They have VLS, vertical launch systems, Tomahawks, 4 torpedo tubes with Mark 48, and the only was food.
So something I'm noticing, Virginia class weigh 3 times as much.
Yep.
Are only 50 feet longer, but have over double the crew complement.
Mm-hmm.
So 60 total versus 134.
And so like on a 688, when we would be on spec op, would be upwards of 150 people where you're hot racking.
Mm-hmm.
And hot racking, for those of you that don't know, is where you have 3 enlisted sailors in 2 racks, during your clothes and stunks, and as soon as a guy gets out of rack to go on watch, then you hop into his rack for you to go to sleep for your 6 hours of sleep, and the bunk is still warm. And if folks don't shower, we can break them. The other thing here is food stores. That's your limitation, that and your sanity. So my first time ever at sea was 63 days from Yokosuka, Japan. And we put food, all the normal places, we put it on the decks. We literally stacked it and stacked it and stacked it and ate our way to the floor. It was quite the interesting journey. So let's carry on.
Yeah.
So here we're talking about the periscope and how much the technology has changed. Scopes in the past really just used mirrors to look up and see, just like what they were doing in the trenches. But here is the massive shift. So on a 688 and everything before then, the scopes would go all the way through down to the bottom when you lower the scope. Now it's all electronic, and so it doesn't breach into the people tank, and this allows control room to be considerably different.
Yeah, and also probably makes it that much more durable because there's nothing going through the people tank.
Yep. So right there, that's also the stuff that just scared us, is getting seen by patrol craft, by aircraft, when you're at PD, at periscope depth, and that with your scope hitting the water, especially the faster you move, the more you're in danger of leaving a wake. And the main thing about submarines is it's always, if you're seen, you're dead, or people will try to kill you. So we will continue to carry on. Next section behind me is talking about the conning tower. So some of our nuke boats, and I guess even, yeah. So
And there's info about periscopes behind us.
okay. So here they're talking about going up into the Arctic, going through the ice. I never did any ice X's. I'm rather glad that I didn't, just saying. So yeah, here's different types of periscopes. So prismatic using the reflections and refraction, and talking about how the technology just has gone and grown. And from there, so go on the other side of the evolution of the periscope.
And then a general submarine development.
So the main one that most submariners will know about is the turtle. During the American Revolutionary War, good concept. That took balls of steel to even comprehend doing. Basically, they were going to go on, screw on, plant limpet mines, and try to get away. That's what I recall from it. Here's a face that is known well to all nukes. Hyman Rickover. I was a nuke, EM2SS. And speaking of, this is something
There's
coming
a
up.
photo of a Typhoon class.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yep.
If you've seen The Hunt for Red October, right there, there's the
That
Typhoon,
looks like
what the Red October
that's
is
not a Los
based.
Angeles. That's a,
No, that's the precursor.
yeah. I forget the name of that.
Actually, that looks more like the Nautilus. I'm
Yeah.
guessing. Or is that the Nautilus? 571's a Nautilus. That was one of the Eusta fishes, but I don't remember which. That was a generation before me. Okay, so going over here, this is a 688 Sailor, just warms my heart. This is what I saw, and this is the actual helmsman and plainsman control station from
The nuclear submarine USS Silversides SS.
Oh, from 679. Okay, so this wasn't a 688. This is right before the 688 class. But the second version of the Silversides, that is amazing. So,
Is this
Liam, you're going to
can you
hop
sit
in.
on it?
You can sit on it. They let you.
Nice.
So here's an ironic part about the helmsman and plainsman station, at least when I served, is this was two of the most absolutely junior members of the boat were the ones doing this. Like non-rated, brand new kids fresh out of sub school were the ones doing
They'd
this.
be younger than I would be right now.
Correct.
I'm 23 soon.
They would be younger than 18 and 19 years old doing this. Now, the chief sitting behind them, or the officer, sometimes chop, that would be sitting behind them, is among the most senior, and he's the one giving them the directions and the instructions. But right here, this is where, when you hear them say, you know, go to this depth, that depth, change your speed, anything like that, that's where, when the captain, the skipper, left full rudder, right full rudder, rudder amidships, all of that right there. Now, Liam, if you were to order a flank bell, where's the engine order telegraph, do you think, from where you're at?
Nope.
Nope. See up there?
Yep.
So up here, this is where the engine order telegraph is. So they would turn that. I don't know. I never operated this station. I'm not qualified to do this, okay? I'm sub-qualified, but I never stood this station.
Yeah.
So they turn that.
So one thing I'm noticing is this pin.
Yep.
Push that in.
Locks
Locks
it.
So what I would imagine then is while one person is controlling your depth and all of that, while one person's controlling it, the other person is doing that. But that is an assumption.
Yeah, like I said, I never stood this watch station. What I can tell you is with the telegraph, when you turn it, then back in the engine room where I stood at throttleman, you're going to see that get repeated, and then I would answer that with mine, and then that gets repeated back here so that they know that engineering is answering. And then back in the engine room, I'm turning the throttles to make the boat go.
Oh, that's interesting. And then, just looking at this, emergency steering.
Emergency steering. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So pretty wild. Okay. So this is SSN 679.
Oh.
Okay, so let's get the details that I didn't know about. So the lucky boat of World War II was donated her name. Silversides 2. And what she did during the height of the Cold War was highly classified. Some crew members, former crew members who wish to remain anonymous, have stated they believe that some paperwork on their missions might never be found if it was ever created. Only a few facts are declassified and known. So, just something to think about. We were never there. It never happened. We signed the paperwork. It never existed. And this one was home ported in Charleston, then Norfolk, and then finally in Honolulu at Pearl. Sturgeon class. 298 feet long, 32 feet wide, 29 foot of draft, and 4,100 tons. And they said that she could go up to 25 knots.
Yep.
Okay.
They have a periscope here.
And actually, this periscope, if I remember right, does look through.
Yes, you can actually look
to
through and
the
see
outside. So we'll see if this does show up on camera.
No.
Yeah, hard for y'all to see what's up.
What I can say is it's not a clear picture.
All right. So, Hyman Rickover, the father of the nuclear navy, you betcha. You know, I was not an officer. I did not have to get interviewed by Rickover in order to be able to go to nuke school. But everything that Rickover did was felt through every single aspect of being a nuclear power plant operations, the whole 9 yards. So now we're going to take a little departure. They do something different in this part of the museum.
This is a landing ship.
So this right here, we'll be talking about a lot of different components of the World War II experience. So this particular gentleman was in the 101st Airborne. He was a paratrooper, but he's from the Muskegon area. And one woman, seeing his wings, thought Joe was a pilot. How many flights have you made? He responds, 11 takeoffs, ma'am, but no landings. Spoken like a true boss. So Joe Burrell was born in Muskegon, and yeah, so pretty cool. From here, they do some talk about the paratroop landings. And so this will talk about that. So this gentleman, Joe, was noticed by his officers sent on secret missions into France to deliver gold to the French underground. And they were done for the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, which is what the CIA was based off of. But this Joe did go through Currahee. So if you've seen Band of Brothers, he went right through all of that. This is an idea of what paratroopers would carry for their kit.
Not as much as you think they would.
I think that's the bare minimum. I think they carried a lot more of weight. Yeah. Now, this section
cigarettes.
here will talk to you about POW life.
Reflecting a Cold War concept involving complete mobilization of population and resources in the pursuit of military input. The most common concentration.
So he was captured by Russians, much like my grandfather, and maybe he actually got out a little easier than my grandpa did.
He joined and fought with them,
So he became a partisan,
working with them until.
and then they captured the POW camp where Joe had been held. With his demolitions knowledge, Joe was asked to open the safes in the CO's office. While there, he retrieved his registration card. And then he and the Russians fought, met fierce resistance, attacked by a Stuka, and he was wounded again, woke up later in a Russian field hospital. Yeah, that's pretty much
less
like...
captured, more joined up
Yeah.
as a infantryman.
So
PSA.
a lot like Grandpa, my grandpa was a B-24 pilot, flew out of Italy, was shot down, I believe it was over Romania or Hungary, and was captured by the Russians. And he's got a whole story about how he got out. It was quite the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that they have this whole section for a local small town hero. Moscow to Muskegon. It was visited by Zhukov. That's amazing.
Yeah. Reading this, his family was told he was dead, and then a couple months later, told that he was alive in a POW. Imagine just the emotional roller coaster of that.
Yeah. All right. So I don't see any questions so far, but if you do have any questions, please drop it. All right. So this right here.
People tank.
Yeah, so I'm not the only one. Yeah, so how do subs work? They have two hulls, the inner pressure hull, aka the people tank, and the outer hull. In between are the ballast tanks with vents on top and bottom. So here's the really quick and easy way to explain how we go from surface to submerged to surfaced. When we're up above, topside, you blow out all the water out of the ballast tanks, you get positively buoyant, you stay positively buoyant, you are surfaced. When you want to dive, you open vents at the top, the air just goes straight out, as it will, pushed in by the seawater. Seawater floods in, there are open vents on the bottom, and then when all that air goes out, you are now negatively buoyant. Then inside, you have a series of trim tanks, and from the station that is just immediately to the left of that, that's where the ballast control panel is, and that's where they would move water around, push water out, pull water in order to make you positively or neutrally or negatively buoyant. Then when you're ready to surface, you use air to blow water out of the ballast tanks. That water blows out through the open vents in the bottom, and then you displace that water, therefore you're lighter, therefore you're more neutrally buoyant, and you go up to the surface. Now, if there's an emergency, if there's flooding, or there are other things, and you do what we call hit the chicken switches, where you pump in, you hit the emergency surface, and that blows in 4,500 pound air into those tanks, and you become very positively buoyant, very, very fast. That's when you take the rocket ride through the roof, and like what you see in Hunt for Red October, when you watch the Dallas go leaping through out of this, up to the surface and crashing down. I did that several times, and it was always a lot of fun. Good fun for training. So just taking a look at where we're at now. So let's go to here. This is talking about the size, cross-section of history. So from the timing of things, where the Silversides that we're going to be seeing here was in this chunk of time.
The red chunk.
The red chunk. The Silversides 2 was in this chunk. And then the 2004 and beyond is the Virginia class. And then you have the Ohio class, the Michigan. So to give you an idea. And so...
and to give an idea of the
size difference.
Going from a length of 377 for a fast attack to 560 for a boomer.
And 42 foot wide versus 33 feet wide. About the same officers, complement.
And enlisted is about the same.
And again, I'm amazed that they can say 800 feet. So yeah, there you go, and 20 to 25 knots. So we won't comment about that. I can legally say, at least back in the day, if I recall, I could legally say it was 600 feet. So there you go, an idea of that. My personal service was just at the end of the Cold War. What was interesting?
Silversides 2, depth of 1,300.
The Sturgeon classes were unique. They definitely built them strong. I'll just say that much. Something else.
That's a way to put it.
Okay, this is something that we were talking about on the drive-in here. The maximum depth that this boat can go to is 300 feet. But what's the length of the boat?
311.
So just think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you angle up, there are parts of your boat, if you were to do too harsh of an angle, parts of your boat could be
At crush depth.
or at least test depth.
Jeez.
Yeah. So just keep that in your pipe and smoke it.
And then Cold War.
So I will give respect and deference to the two boats that are on eternal patrol, the Thresher and the Scorpion. 1963 and 1968, 228 sailors were lost. This is an interesting fact if you're into submarine history. Submarines were considered so crucial to the U.S. defense that nearly 1/3 of the Navy's budget went to building submarines. Each class was larger, more advanced, and better armed than the class before it.
Wow.
All right. Hey, here's a thing. People wouldn't even know what they're looking at here. This right here is a battery cell.
That's a big battery.
That is a big battery, and imagine that being one of 100 or multi-hundred.
Jeez.
All right, so Liam, you were about 5'9".
About. So this is 3 foot, 3.5 foot? Mm-hmm. Big battery.
Big battery, lead acid. As an electrician's mate, I would have to do maintenance, opening this up, checking the water, checking the specific gravity, all of that type of thing.
Jeez. And over there, I saw stuff for ocean depth.
Okay. How are you doing? Okay. So just talking about depths. So the depth of Pearl Harbor is only 45 foot. The deepest point of Lake Huron is 750 feet. The working depth of the Silversides 1 was between 300 and 500 feet. Okay? The deepest point in Lake Erie is only 210 feet. Lake Michigan, 925.
Yep.
And then the Marianas.
Yep. There's also...
Yeah, 10,000 foot for the Scorpion.
Yeah. Yeah. Ocean's big.
So this right here will give you also an impact or an idea. These are where all of our boats were lost. So when you're thinking about Pearl, okay, couple here, and then all the rest during World War II, all around there. I didn't know the Grunion was lost all the way up there in the Aleutians. And then we did lose a few in the Atlantic as well.
There's...
So the Silversides, in terms of number of enemy ships sunk, Silversides is number 3 under Burlingame, Coy, and Nichols with 24. O'Kane, Dick O'Kane is number 2, and the Tautog. Okay.
There's the Barb, number 12.
With Lucky Flucky. There's some great stories about him.
There's also the Bowfin at 15.
And the Bowfin, I did go to in Pearl. I will be doing a separate video about the Bowfin when I can get to that. So here are the different war patrols that she went on. That is a lot of distance going from either California or Pearl. That is still a lot of miles. And it looks like they went in and out of Brisbane quite a bit too, which would make sense for that period of the war. Okay. So if you want to get a really good story about this particular boat, go to on Paramount Plus. I got mine through Amazon Prime. There's a show called Hell Below, and it will talk about this particular scenario.
And this particular story, we were actually watching it on the drive over, or I was watching it, he was listening. It's season 2, episode 1, talking about an emergency appendix removal that was done while underway. And here it is, the Patrol 4. 5 days out and 2 days before Christmas, one of our firemen, George Platter, started complaining of stomach pain. Thomas Moore realized he had appendicitis and needed to be transferred off to a larger ship with a surgical theater or back to shore. Problem was, there was no one friendly for hundreds of miles. Moore had seen the surgery done dozens of times when he was in medical training before the war, and knew that an appendectomy was Platter's only chance. Platter and Cap agreed, so they went underwater to give the guys a stable ship. They opened him up in the officer's wardroom to take the appendix out. They had to bend 2 spoons to use as retractors. And like, this is not supposed to be happening while underway. They tried to get a flying boat, probably a Catalina or something. But they realized that just even the process, like even calling in a radio transmission to get that requested, could potentially compromise our location and get them all killed. So they took photos of the operation while administering.
So this right here, this is something for anybody watching, you got to understand this. Doc Moore was what they called a pharmacist mate. In my era, they called them a corpsman, okay? But he's not a doctor. He's not a physician's assistant. The doc was literally just a highly trained, like some advanced skills, but like a corpsman. And so they could suture, they could bandage, they could splint, but they were not trained in surgery.
Their job was to keep someone alive long enough for them to get to a hospital. But a little bit more advanced probably than like EMS, I think.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it in today's day and age. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, hey, that's...
Oh, that's where so the appendix operation happened here. I know that was outside of Truk Island on the 4th War Patrol. Then she went up in here, got several.
So they did the surgery in the first week of their war patrol, and then proceeded to go on and continue fighting for another 40 days?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So they did have a fatality on board. A man named Mike was shot while they were loading the deck gun. They got into a fight. That is all covered in Hell Below, and I really recommend that you check that out to see that particular story. Both of these stories are very, very good and very well shot and shown. You'll hear Navy guys talking about having their crow. That's when you become a third class petty officer, E4 and above. So you have your crow and the number of stripes. So that's a 3rd class. 2nd class would have 2. 3rd class would have 3. We wore ours on the left sleeve. I don't know if that's a mistake on their part or if that's how they did in World War II. I don't know.
And look, fish.
That's right.
And there's a patch of fish over there.
All right, we are going to carry on.
Yep, so there is a upstairs that we need to figure out how to get to.
We will.
Somehow, somewhere.
So I do want to thank you for joining us. I believe we are going to elevator or stairs it up.
Yep.
So here's a great picture of the car. the number of ships sunk and damaged. Rescued 2 airmen, and I'm going to assume that means they deployed 16 mines.
Trying to figure out where to go upstairs. We're back to the entrance.
Okay,
Elevator.
elevator go up.
Elevator go up. Boop. There we go. Hopefully you still have signal here. We're about to find out.
Signal as we go in. See you shortly.
Oh yeah, because we're also probably going to lose signal inside of the boat.
We will certainly lose signal when we go inside the boat. So we will have to end this tour once we get ready to drop down the hatch. And that's where I will switch over to recording for a future full video that we'll put out.
Oh, there are stairs.
Oh, great. We'll use the stairs next time.
Yeah.
Okay, not nearly as much up on the second deck. So we'll be able to move through this pretty quickly and take you to the sub. But great view of down below.
Trying to read through this.
Okay. One thing that I will talk about as far as the purpose and really where the submarines made the difference is in a phrase that we lovingly know as unrestricted submarine warfare. And the gist of that is that our boats went out there with the idea of sinking anything and everything from the Japanese Imperial Navy that they possibly could, especially tankers, because wars are won and lost on oil and fuel, and also on reinforcements. So subs were phenomenal at that. And I believe we got this either from the Silversides or the Lucky Flucky episode. This interesting fact was, I believe it was by May or April of 1945.
I think it was May of 1945 was the last tanker that landed in mainland Japan. And the war ended in August. So for about
4 to 5 months of no diesel fuel, no oil product making it to Japan during that time. And that's because U.S. submarines sank them all.
Yeah.
So okay, this section here.
This stuff up here is talking about like the shipping, commercial shipping of the Great Lakes.
Got it.
And how all of that is involved in just logistics.
Oh, and for what they built and what the Great Lakes region did to support the war effort during World War II.
Yep.
So anything, let's just go with the legend there. Anything with a ship is where shipbuilding was. So lots of places all around here were building ships. 17,000 pilots were certified aboard the USS Wolverine and Sable on Lake Michigan. And then, of course, commercial shipping. Okay.
Yep. And some of the aircraft, there is a museum in
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo Air Museum, if I remember correctly. And they have a couple of restored aircraft that winched down in Lake Michigan that they pulled out of the lake and have already been restored or are in process of being restored.
And if you guys want to see that, let us know. That is a trip that we can make on a different weekend. The Kalamazoo Air Museum is definitely a great place to go to. I'll give you guys an extended view. Most people can't see of this. All right, looks like we're playing Battleship. What does it say about this? Just talking about the different types of ships.
Carriers.
Okay, so
this one over here.
Carriers, battleships, cruisers. Okay, so what we're seeing here is a fleet. And if you had the full fleet with all the different types of ships, this is what a fleet would be, including radar pickets, etc. So that is a whole lot of stuff to protect that carrier.
Yeah. Carrier strike groups. And This would be a World War II one, which is they have 4 carriers on the board.
Now I'm going to put on my bubblehead hat for a second and say a fun old phrase, saying that we used to say. There are 2 types of vessels in the water, submarines and targets. And if you're not a submarine, you're a target. And in my day and age, it was the submarines that were the biggest threat to us. In World War II, there were very, very few sub-on-sub conflicts. They do cover that a bit in Hell Below, but really the vast majority of all action that was done by especially U.S. submarines was about sinking the enemy shipping. Now, Liam reminded me to talk about this little piece of nomenclature. This is a good time. Are we submariners or are we submariners, and why? And what I can tell you is virtually everybody I know prefers to be called a submariner because we serve on submarines. Mariners are people that go to sea, and mariners can be anybody. But the preface, or the, what's the pre-word? So sub means below, or could be substandard, having a somewhat negative implication. And so if you say submariner, is kind of to us a little bit derogatory. It's also the way the British say it, but I much prefer to be called submariner because I'm not below a mariner.
You're under the ocean, not underqualified.
All right, this also just warms the cockles of my heart. I spent a number of years from 8th grade to graduation in Civil Air Patrol out in Colorado, and I love that they have a whole section here on CAP. It is a wonderful organization for kids. It did me a lot of good. My goal was to go to the Air Force Academy, and I spent multiple summers at the Academy doing training and having a lot of fun. I did a lot of search and rescue up in the Rockies of Colorado, and so the fact that these guys have a wonderful demonstration there of cadet programs and all of that. Yeah, Cessna 172, that's what I flew in all the time. And yeah, that would have been young Bill in the back of a Herky bird. Okay. And so CAP is still going on strong today. Great program. So if you have teens or younger, I think the age was 13 to get in, CAP is an excellent organization. All right. So now let's head on down and go to the boat. Is there a way to get up top on this deck? I think it's closed.
Yeah, I'll go right to the center, and then I'll join you by the stairs. Hey, you can step out.
Okay, great. Let's get a great exterior view.
Oh, it's a hedgehog.
All right. All right, so we are now outside. All right, Liam, you just heard about the hedgehogs?
They didn't cover it in the videos that we were watching on the way here. But
You didn't get to that point.
I didn't get to that point about the hedgehogs, but basically what is that 24 mortar, not mortars,
All right.
depth
So
charges?
these are rocket-powered depth charge mortars. And the Tang, and you'll learn about this in Hell Below, about what Lucky Flucky did, is he was the very first one to put something like that on a boat like that and shoot mortars and rockets like that into the Japanese mainland.
Oh, the hedgehog?
Yeah, the equivalent of, they were using a magazine-fed hedgehog, in essence. Okay?
Yep.
So here is the Silversides. We're right in a channel. We have Lake Michigan right there, and Lake whatever right there. So this channel
Might
is
still
just...
be technically Lake Michigan. I couldn't figure that out on the map.
You couldn't figure that out on the map. So the aft end has a couple of torpedo tubes going along. The main deck gun, you'll see deck gun ammunition storage, and then everything else about the top side, the conning tower, the bridge.
It looks like ammunition storage.
It is. Yep.
Yep.
Now, I don't remember what the top main deck gun is. I believe that's I think it's a 3-inch gun. I'm pretty certain it's a 3-inch gun. And then a 40 millimeter Bofors. And then you've got your
50.
Maduses, your 50s.
Yep.
So welcome to the Silversides. Now we're gonna head on down.
Yep.
And go up along topside.
Yep.
All right, sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. I give these guys a lot of credit for going to sea on these old boats. You have to think about it. You are a surface ship with the ability to submerge. It's not like, and the only thing out of food. If you run out of battery power while you're submerged, nope, not that way. If you run out of battery power while you're submerged, you are dead. And we have a couple of other former bubbleheads here.
Oh, so we go out this way. Okay.
Huh?
I says, okay, so we go out this way.
Yep.
We could have gotten there anyway, but
Yeah,
Sort
I
of
suppose. Yes. All right, let's switch this around. Let the eyes adjust. It is quite bright.
oh yeah, sunglasses.
Salute. Salute. All right, so here we are. Welcome to topside. I'm going to put this a little further out, let you get a bigger, higher view. Feel free. So when you want to fire the deck gun, you've got to unscrew this because you got to protect that barrel while she's...
And this, I'm pretty sure, is an optic.
Okay.
And it's same on both sides. So I imagine... My feet are too big. But yeah, it's...
And that's how you...
That's probably fire there, maybe.
And so what you've got right there is moving it side to side, elevation, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. My feet are too big. Well, that's probably also adjust. No. There, that's, but yeah.
And then, so here, right behind you, I'm guessing this is, so here's elevation. And so it's talking about your range in yards.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Yeah. And then that might be fire, might be somewhere else.
I do not know the operation of it.
Or maybe there was a button on those. I don't know.
Okay. That's obviously the breech.
Yep. Yeah. And kind of this is just wood.
We're on teak decking right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So from a 688 perspective, all of this just sort of rubs me wrong and wigs me out because all of this is noise. All of this is drag. All of this is possibilities of, like, every single protrusion, anything that breaks the plane is a source of both drag and I'll get to that. It's a source of drag and or noise. So right here, this is where Mike Harbin was killed. TM3, Torpedoman's Mate 3rd Class, Navy, killed on that spot May 10, 1942 by enemy machine gun fire. Moving along.
I'm trying to figure out what this would be.
I don't know what this is, quite frankly. I don't know if there are any World War II vets that know better than I do, but I do not know what that thing is.
Maybe it's a loading
Could
port
be.
for something.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's too small to be a fish.
Yeah.
So 5-inch, we must be talking a 5-inch gun based on the size of those.
For the main gun, probably.
Yeah, that looks bigger than 3-inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess this is where you're storing your ammo for up top. And then, yeah, gotta unlock and lock everything.
She is a beautiful boat. Again, like, I just can't even comprehend this because the drag and all of this,
So much noise.
so much noise. So her battle flags. Rescue 2 airmen.
Is that 16 mine slade?
That's my understanding.
Yep. And then I guess my question is, why are there?
What's the
why is
difference
it-
between this and that?
If I had to guess, this would be combat vessels versus merchantmen.
That is a great question.
That
I'm going to take that as a lookup.
Yeah.
And I will just say that any of you in the comments, if any of you know for certain, please tell us what is the difference between the Rising Sun with the rays versus just the meatball. Inquiring minds want to know. All right, they don't want us going up into there. Are we able to go from this side? I forget.
they don't want you up top. Period. It looks like.
Okay. Nothing at all.
That's a lot of vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And you got people all the way up there, while potentially getting shot at.
All right, down Periscope. When he sends the dude all the way up topside to string a lamp up top. I forget, man, I need to watch that movie again.
I think they also had the periscope down, and then they put it up.
Yes, they would have had the Periscope down, then they would have raised it to depth or to height.
Yeah.
You're the only athlete that I've got.
Another thing I'm thinking about and wondering is, I'm pretty sure a lot of this, like all these posts and all this extra stuff,
Yep.
is post. So during, like when it was actually in use, I don't think there was any railing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, there you don't have this, but
I mean,
on a 680, these will flip down.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just talking about
You're
like
talking
this.
about all this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
this is all added for
Museum.
safety.
Well, yeah, you don't want,
People
kids
falling
to.
down. Yep. And then here's how you're gonna load your fish.
Yep, torpedo loading right here.
Yeah, that's a big hatch.
I do believe this is the sonar.
Really?
Because radar's up there. So this is the hydrophone, and it was a directional hydrophone so that you could turn it to look at where and get a bearing. Okay, this is the entrance.
Yeah, that is the entrance.
Okay, we'll go in there in just a minute.
Yep.
All right. And right there is the USS Silversides. So with that, I want to absolutely thank you for joining us on the walkthrough through the Silverside Submarine Museum and the top deck of the Silversides. We are going to hop down below. We're going to capture that and put it up as soon as possible. Thank you all for being here. Continue to watch us on Wandering Highlanders, where I will be going through local things. We are obviously currently not on the Villa V Odyssey, but we are showing you areas around the Michiana region, good food, good restaurants, and other cool museums, as well as other travels that are in our future. Thanks for joining us, and stay on the journey.
Yeah, if you can find a button to close
Yeah,
it
if I
this
can
time.
find the close button. There we go. We're stopping the streaming. Bye-bye.